the voting age is to be lowered to 16 years old in England and Northern Ireland. Now, the rules are already in place for voting in the Senedd elections in Wales and Holyrood elections in Scotland. So today's change means all 16 and 17-year-olds across all 4 UK nations can vote in local, regional and general elections. Actually, it's the biggest change to the electorate since it was reduced from 21 to 18 in 1969. Do you think this is a good thing for kids, Nads?
I'm actually really excited about this.
The audience is saying everything, aren't they? The groans and the moans.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I was, like, really disengaged in politics. I think because I grew up in a household where my mum was always saying, well, you know, they're all liars, don't trust any of them, there's no point. But actually that's changed so much as I've grown up. And, you know, politics is about every single thing in life is affected by politics. And I think in this country, I think it's such a shame that so many young people are completely disengaged and think that there's nothing in it for them. And I think the way that, you know, if you just think about all the promises that governments have made across the world about saving the planet and what they're going to do, this is young people's future. And time and again, they've backtracked on their promises. So if I was just thinking about the planet and all of us wanting it to be here, this beautiful, beautiful planet in time to come, I think younger people are going to be much more motivated, because if we don't have a planet, we haven't got anything. And I think they might hold governments accountable. Also, I just think, let's just talk more about politics in school without having to be a GCSE, because boring.
I know, but then,
but I do think it's...
Are they old enough to be able to...
Well, this is it, isn't it? Because I just think, all right, it's a lovely, idealistic way of thinking about it, Nadia, but the fact is, like, you're not going to get a 16-year-old that is going to have the life experience of knowing what that important vote is going to mean to them down the line. Like, who I am now and who I was at 16 are two very different people.
And you would have voted for different reasons.
Yeah,
and you need
but everybody votes for
and
different reasons. Like, if you're in your 20s and voting, you may not necessarily be voting according to what happens when you are of pensionable age, for example. So every stage in our life, we are voting for different things according to where we are in that stage in our life.
But what makes me nervous is, like, where they're going to get the information from. There's so much misinformation out there. And I think, you know, like we were talking about this earlier, you know, you were always kind of voting for, you know, whatever the newspaper was in the household. If you was a Sun reader, maybe you would vote more one way, and if you was a Guardian reader, you vote more the other. So there is more information out there for kids to make a more informed opinion on politics and what's going on in the world, but there is even more misinformation out there as well, and that's what makes me nervous. And it's just that out of, you know, like, I don't know, 4 16-year-olds, if 2 of them are voting in a particular way, are the other 2 just going to follow suit because that's what their mates are doing?
That's what we did as a kid.
But as an adult, you're not doing that. You're doing it based on the fact you're running a business, or maybe your kids, you've worked really hard to put your kids in private school, now they're having to come out of private school.
I wouldn't say that wouldn't necessarily be true.
Maybe you've had a brush with the care system, and you've seen somebody, you know, go into care. Sorry, but it's true.
So what I'm saying is...
It's like you're older, you've had more life experience.
But what I'm saying is if you grow up in a Conservative household, a Lib Dem household, a Labour household, a Green household, at 18... when you're able to vote, you may well vote according to what your parents always have done. So you are, you know, going according to what other people do, and perhaps as you get older, as I said before, the things you're choosing to vote for change.
Absolutely.
But also, I would argue
that's why
that
I don't think 16-year-olds should be voting.
But also, in the old days and in the days now, you could be totally informed by one person's idea of the world who owns multiple newspapers. So the world has opened up and there is so much more information. There's always been misinformation everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I do think that, you know, to go to Charlene's point, yes, and yours really, at different stages of our lives, we all vote for different things. So surely a country where you've got a cross-section of all different ages that are needing different things to change, then you might be inching really slowly towards more of a democracy because you've got everybody involved in the...
So,
But if it was that
Linda, in
important, then why
terms of,
hasn't it happened
obviously,
before? Why hasn't it
your
happened
grandchildren nearer to an age of 16 where they'll be able to vote, is that something that you'd be encouraging them to do at 16?
I would be, because I've never really been interested in politics. It's always scared me, really. But I think starting younger would maybe be a really good idea, yeah.
So it's just part of every day?
Yeah.
Well, actually, ITV News has done a poll on this today, and they're asking young people who they may well vote for at 16 and 17.
But you must never tell anyone who you're voting for. Ruth Langsford said to me, never let anyone know who you're voting for, because someone's always going to be upset by what you've said.
So 33% said they do Labour, 20% Reform, 18% Green, 10% Tory. And actually, when they had the Scottish independence vote, 16 and 17-year-olds were allowed to vote for the very first time. And the turnout then for first-time voters at 16 and 17 was 75%.
Yay! Well done. That's amazing.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with politics over the next couple of years and looks at who they'd want to target in terms of getting someone's vote.